Hey guys, and welcome to That Was History. We are so excited that you decided to join us for another episode, and we really hope that you'll be able to take something away from this video and apply it to the real world somewhere. Anyway, here's a rundown of what we've got going on today. These are the topics that we're going to be discussing, and they span a gigantic time frame, and we really hope that you're going to enjoy them. So sit back, relax, and get ready to learn some history.
If any of you know anything or could picture anything about World War II, it's got to be that most famous picture of the soldiers raising up the flag on Iwo Jima. On February 23rd of 1945, the U.S. would overtake Iwo Jima 4 days after landing on the Japanese-held volcanic island. This was one of the biggest shifts in the war because it gave America an upper hand and another strategy that they could use. Ultimately, now they could use their bombers and fighter pilots to invade the mainland of Japan.
Remember the Alamo. It's a very famous phrase that actually stems from the very tragic tale of the 13-day Battle of the Alamo that happened in the 1830s. A lot of people are very familiar with this tale, especially those who are native Texans. If by chance you're not familiar with what happened in the Battle of the Alamo, it was a conflict between 3,000 Mexicans and 182 Texans. On February 24th of 1836, Hispanic leader President General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna would lead an assault on the Alamo mission, which would end in the deaths of all 182 Texans involved. Santa Anna's cruelty sparked an outrage between Texans and Americans alike, and by April of that same year, Texas was able to defeat the Mexican army and end the Mexican Revolution.
If you're from the southern United States, then you can relate to me in the saying that you can never get your sweet tea too sweet. But if you're not familiar with this, just think about that favorite dessert of yours. It's gotta be sweetened with something. If it's one thing about the South I love, it's that sweet tea. But if I was from the early 1900s, I wouldn't be able to enjoy this luxury. Well, on February 25th of 1920, sugar trees, or Douglas fir trees, were found in British Columbia. At this time, sugar was a whopping $66 per pound. I mean, you've got to be out of your mind. It cost about that much for me to fill up my truck each week, much less afford sugar for my tea. But now that sugar is more common, it only costs about $5 to $10 a pound. So I think it's safe to say that whether you need sugar to sweeten your tea or just to make anything sweet, it's definitely affordable these days.
There are many natural wonders that have been discovered over the years, and they are all sights to behold. One of these natural wonders is actually the Grand Canyon, and it has received great attention since its discovery. From tourists all the way to daredevil stunts, this canyon has received great attention and has become very popular in today's culture. Adding to its appeal, the Grand Canyon National Park was established on February 26th of 1919. This would allow everyone to come to the Grand Canyon and enjoy its wonders. Theodore Roosevelt once said, "The Grand Canyon fills me with awe. It is beyond comparison, beyond description, absolutely unparalleled throughout the wide world. Let this great wonder of nature remain as it now is." And that is exactly what we have done.
If you've kept up with foreign politics over the years, I'm sure that you've heard of the Kuwait conflict of the Gulf War. During this time, Saddam Hussein was trying to take control of the country and its oil market. However, on February 27th of 1991, George H.W. Bush Sr. declared Kuwait a liberated nation. He announced that the Allies would end all combat operations at midnight, ending the Kuwait conflict, thus suppressing Saddam's attempted takeover of the country.
If you're familiar with the board game Monopoly, then you're probably also aware that if you own all of the properties of a certain color or type, then this will benefit you greatly in the end game. One great collection to have is the 4 railroads that are featured on the Monopoly board game. One of these railroads is the B&O Railroad, and believe it or not, this is an actual railroad system in the United States. To tie this all together for you, February 28th of 1927 is the day that the B&O Railroad Company was incorporated. This company would later be tasked with building a railroad all the way from Baltimore to the Ohio River. And fun fact, this railroad is one of the oldest railroad systems in the United States, as well as the very first common carrier railroad.
So just imagine you're a ruler over a big city, and there's a big group of people who poses a big threat to you and your people. How would you go about taking care of this issue? Well, back in the 1800s, the Mamluks posed the greatest threat to Muhammad Ali Pasha. Over this time period, they had extended their rule all throughout and controlled Egypt for more than 600 years. Well, on March 1st of 1811, Muhammad invited the Mamluk leaders to a celebration at the Cairo Citadel in honor of his son. When they arrived, they were trapped and killed, and after this, Muhammad sent his army into the town to capture and kill anyone who was associated with the Mamluks in order to extinguish them. Ultimately, this was a political stunt to gain absolute power in Egypt.
Well, there you have it, guys. Another great week of historical events and fun facts. We hope that you would learn something and that you enjoyed what we had. Thank you so much for subscribing to our channel. If you're a subscriber, we just hit 400 subscribers, and we couldn't have done it without you. We thank you so much for everything that you do for us here on the show.
Please follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and please keep hitting that subscribe button, because if it wasn't for you guys, we couldn't do the show that we do here.